Hello. Let me fix my hair. It's so stiff. Man, I gotta get my hair done. Totally. I literally, like, less than 10 minutes ago finished this thing. Hexed by Michelle Krys. Other people pronounce it Krys, but I say Krys. So, yeah. First half of this video is not going to have spoilers. So I'll tell you when I'm about to start the spoiling. But for now, I'm just going to read the synopsis and tell you how I generally felt about it. So, yeah. If high school is all about social status, Indigo Blackwood has made it. Sure, her quirky mom owns an occult shop, and a nerd just won't stop trying to be her friend, but Indy is a popular cheerleader with a football star boyfriend and a social circle powerful enough to ruin anyone at school. Who wouldn't want to be her? Then a guy dies right before her eyes, and the dusty old family Bible her mom was freakishly possessive of is stolen. But it's when a frustratingly sexy stranger named Bishop enters Indy's world that she learns that her identity involves a lot more than pom-poms and parties. If she doesn't get the Bible back, every witch on the planet will die. And that's seriously bad news for Indy, because according to Bishop, she's a witch too. Suddenly forced into a series-old war between witches and sorcerers, Indy is about to uncover the many dark truths about her life, and a future unlike any she ever imagined on top of her cheer pyramid. Okay, sorry, I had to pause a bit because it's kind of a cool texture there, like, you see it? It's cool. So yeah, this is the book, front, back, we've got the spine. As usual, the hardcover is about 20 bucks, a little under, about $18. I believe the paperback is out now, so if you want to spend a little less money, you could get it for 10 bucks at like Barnes & Noble or something. And here's without the sleeve on. Without the side, and my favorite, the back. It's gorgeous. Yeah. So, like I said, books about the cliche popular girl at high school, you know, the blonde who's like in the cheerleader and she's dating the hot football guy or whatever. So yeah. When I first saw this book, I was like, wow, this looks cool. It's called Hexed after all, and I love reading books about witches. Like, I read Hexed Hall by Rachel Hawkins, and that was the greatest thing I've ever read in my entire life. So, most of the time I was comparing this book to Rachel Hawkins' trilogy. So, a lot of what I have to say about this book comes from that book, me comparing the two, and let me just say now, Hexed Hall still has Michelle Krys beat. So, yeah. So, yeah, this book caught my eye as soon as I saw it, the name, the cover, everything. And then I read the synopsis and I was kind of turned off. I mean, the cliche cheerleader girl, come on now. Come on. That's like, Buffy the Vampire Slayer kind of crap, you know? And I don't really like that. So, I turned it away. And then, I like to visit the author's website before I read the book, so I got into that. And I was like, you know what? A lot of people seem interested in this, I'm going to give it a chance. So I went, picked up the book, and yeah, I just finished reading it. So, yeah, storyline had me hooked from the beginning. I mean, I read, like, to chapter 15 in a day. But as we neared the middle of the book, I became a little turned off. There were some things that happened that involved a lot of emotion, and it started seeming more like a contemporary book rather than a fantasy. It was so focused on these emotions and the drama and everything that I was like, I'm not into contemporary, I'm in it for the fantasy, I'm in it for the magic, the witches, the sorcerers, everything, and Michelle Krys just wasn't living up to my expectations. So, yeah, I was pretty disappointed there. So I actually paused reading the book for a long time. Like, I started reading this book back in, like, before Halloween last year in October, and I just started up, like, 3 days ago, and I finished it up. So yeah, there was that downside, and then there was a bit more action, I guess. It wasn't much action, actually. More like the magical aspects of things, but then again, compared to Rachel Hawkins' Hex Hall, it wasn't as much as I would have liked. And the action wasn't much action until the very end of the book. Not even, like, it was just like events happened and there was like adrenaline rushes and things like that, but there wasn't much of a, we're fighting and, you know. So, I would have liked a little bit more action, more magic, less contemporary, traditional kind of thing, you know. So yeah, there was that. There's also grammatical errors. I like to edit pieces, so whenever I found an error in the book, I would email Michelle Krys. I'm pretty sure she's pissed off with me for doing that, or maybe she's pissed off with her editor for not noticing these mistakes before they printed. But yeah, there are a couple of mess ups in there. She forgot a couple periods, you know, just normal stuff a regular writer would do, but I was kind of surprised to find it in a published book. Then again, I find it in other books too, like books by C.C. Hunter. I'm staring at it now, you can't see it, but yeah. So there's that. And now I'm about to get into the spoiler section of the book, so please leave if you don't want to hear it. So, inside of the book, we start with Indy at cheerleading practice. I'm into it because I was a cheerleader like freshman year of high school. I'm a senior now though, so I'm kind of over it. But I was like, I can relate to that, you know, laughter recognition in there. I liked that. And then there's her boyfriend or whatever. And then we got to the occult shop, and I was like, this is so cool. And then it got to Bishop, one of the guys in the book, he's like another protagonist that Indy eventually falls in love with, sort of. Yeah. So then he dies in front of her, like it seems like a suicide. Just falls right in front of her car as she's driving, and she's like, oh my god. But then later on her mind gets erased, and now I'm just telling the story without telling you my opinions about it. Okay. So honestly, yeah, I told you I was having problems with the emotion. Way too much. Ugh, I was just so sick of it. Like, I feel insensitive because the emotion came in when her mother died. Her mother died because this sorcerer was like, do this for me, and she didn't follow through, and boop, her mom's dead. So, and then we just went like 7 chapters of her grievance, and I was like, can we get on with the story, please? And I was just like, oh, this is so exhausting. I'm tired of hearing about her crying and whatever. I want her to get emotional about, like, vengeance and learning how to do magic and stuff. And she does eventually get into wanting to do magic, but I mean, it lasted like 3 chapters compared to the 7 chapters of grievance. It lasted like 3 chapters before, like, then she came up with this really stupid plan. At first I was thinking, maybe the character's just dumb, but then it kind of seemed like the author was just the one who was out of it. It was just some things about it, just like her plan to take out the Priory by like luring them to an open space, like at her homecoming. And I was just thinking, really? He killed your mom, he killed your coach, your cheerleading coach. You don't think he's gonna attack all these people at your school? Why would you risk their lives just so that you can... I wasn't feeling it. And then I was wondering the whole time, why isn't the family, the organization of witches, why isn't the family helping you out with this stuff? And they got in, Michelle Krys got into it later on, but I was still kind of confused. Like, later on in the book, towards the end, apparently Indy realizes that the book is a fake, and that's why the family wasn't helping. But I'm like, what brought her to realize that? There was nothing, no element in the book to prompt her to question the reality and the credibility of the Bible, the book that the Priory had stolen. It was like, that makes no sense. Like, because he said the word fake, or you thought about the word fake, it just came to mind. Like, what evidence brings you to that conclusion? It was just like, there was nothing, no juice, you know? I feel like Michelle Krys just threw it in there to finish the book, because maybe she got lost when we got to the parts where Indy was emotional about her mom's death, because that's where the story just started to falter. Maybe the author just needed to throw some action in there, and she was just like, bam. But it just didn't work out for me. I wasn't feeling it. I know a lot of other people said they loved it and whatever, but yeah. So, and then at the very end of the book, I'm just like, there's nothing really drawing me in to read the next book, which is coming out, I believe, March 26th this year. There's nothing in this book that makes me want to go on and read the second one. Except maybe the last chapter where, Indy listens to her voicemail and, like, the evil sorcerers on the other line, of her friend's phone, and he's like, I got your friend here, and you wonder what's going on, what did he do with Paige and whatever. That intrigues me, I guess. And then there's the whole thing with her aunt being a witch. Honestly, the whole time I was reading this book, I was thinking, I think that her aunt's actually her mother, and the one that she thinks is her mother is actually her aunt, because, you know, Aunt Penny is really irresponsible, so I could see her getting pregnant and being like, I can't take care of this kid, look at me, I'm a mess. My sister is a really good person, she loves me, take this baby, raise it as your own, whatever. That would also explain why Indy's a witch, because the gene from her actual mom, who is Penny, who is a witch, was stronger in her and passed on, you know. Yeah, it doesn't... I'm still kind of concerned about why Penny, like, she was kind of out of it when she tried to warn, Indy about the book, when she said the name, I forgot completely, but she said a name that was kind of warning Indy of what was to come and how to get out of the situation. But it was like, she kind of seems like how Indy was when she was trying to remember these things that happened after being brainwashed by the Priory, and she got her mind wiped by the Priory. It kind of seemed like that, but then again they said that witches can't have their memory erased by the Priory, so I'm like, I have no idea what's going on, but I guess now I have to read the second book, because clearly I have to find out what's going on with Penny. She's honestly my favorite character, I kind of like her. I also want to know what's going on with Paige. I feel like in the epilogue, you see that Paige is like kind of in a basement, and there are these strange people around her. This one really pale, white-haired, white-eyelashed woman. I'm definitely feeling a vampire vibe there. I don't know. It's just that the pale skin, the basement where it's cold, and she has no idea what's going on. This guy wants to hurt her. I feel like they're vampires. I kind of hope they aren't, unless Michelle Krys has a really good plan for the next book, because I feel like vampires would kind of ruin it. I like the whole witches versus sorcerers thing, even though apparently all the sorcerers are wiped out. Like, I thought there would be plenty more sorcerers around than what they could do with a couple of alligators and just wipe them out like that. It's kind of easy to me. I don't know. The story wasn't thick enough. I mean, I want more. Like, I told you I was comparing the entire book to HEXED, which had so much. Oh, it was so amazing. So, Michelle Krys, if you're watching this, you know, not making fun of you or anything. I'm just saying, there's a couple things that could be touched up. So, yeah, totally. HEXED. You can read it. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Now I'm going to watch other reviews, and yeah, this is probably gonna get no views whatsoever, but check it out. It's pretty awesome.